What's happening, y'all? I literally just walked in the crib and was like, let me get to this portfolio update. So, in this video, I'm going to give you a portfolio update with education. We're going to go over my personal portfolio, moves I'm going to make, and I'm also going to show y'all a little bit of chart education, right? The financials let you know if the stock is worth buying or not, and the chart will let you know when to buy, right? And some stocks, if you're a passive investor and you want to dollar cost average it to the S&P 500 or dollar cost average it to Investco QQQ, then you buy that at any time on a recurring basis at all times. But when you pick your individual stocks, you want to be a little more precise. So as y'all can see with the headlines, Nvidia did report earnings this past week, and they beat earnings, but the stock dropped a lot, and it was because in one of their segments, I want to say it might have been the data center segment, didn't do as well, and the stock responded poorly to that information. The stock market did not like the fact that there was a possibility that Nvidia's growth could be slowing down, right? But if y'all know me, you know that I'm a firm believer in Nvidia. No matter what news or anything like that is saying, I buy and hold Nvidia for the long run. It's the big player in my portfolio. The reason why I'm highlighting Nvidia is because it's showing you a change. It's showing you a change in the market. I don't know if y'all remember when I bought United Healthcare, and I'm giving you the portfolio update. You can see the change in XR Mobile going up, United Healthcare going up. This is showing a change in the market cycle, right? So your defense plays, your safety assets like commodities, healthcare, those are going to be doing good now. So as you can see, I'm still up $387 on Nvidia. And that's total. I think I have almost 11 shares, right? We have almost 11 shares on Nvidia, and it is 59% of the portfolio, right? I like 60%. I'm even cool with 50, but in between 50 and 65 is like the most or less it can ever be in my portfolio. I need to keep the percentage on Nvidia pretty high, but see how we doing. I know I'm usually smacking the market across the head, but the market has been going down, so the S&P has been, or Nvidia has been going down. So the S&P 500 has probably been doing better than our portfolio. So we got, let's see. So for us, we actually down this past week. We down 1.2%. And the S&P this past week, S&P 500 this past week was down a lot less. So for one of the first times in this portfolio update, S&P 500 has beat your boy. But if we go to the 3-month mark, go to 3 months, the S&P 500 is up 9.5%, and we are up in the past 3 months. S&P is up 9.5, and we are up. Come on, load. 13.5. Still beating the S&P 500. This week I added to United Healthcare. I put about $50 in United Healthcare, but I'm also holding cash. I'm keeping cash on hand because I see that Nvidia, as you can see, I got about 150. I put $200 in there. I put 50 in United Healthcare because I want to get more shares of that as soon as possible because it's growing like really quick, but also it's going to help soften the blow of my portfolio downturn as Nvidia is probably going to go down. I feel like Nvidia's earnings going to set the tone for the market. I feel like the market most likely will continue to go down next week, right? But before I get into the charts, I gave y'all the portfolio update. We still beating the S&P. Um, just in case you want to see more of the portfolio, I usually go into um, each asset of mine and how they doing and why I like them and all of that. But we got the S&P still dollar cost averaging into that. We still got ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil is coming out with their dividend. So I'm about to get a dividend on ExxonMobil. And ExxonMobil is an excellent dividend. Passive income in your portfolio, you have to have it. Just like you got to have defense in your portfolio, you got to have passive income in your portfolio. As you can see, we got a pending $1.76 in dividend. ExxonMobil pays an excellent dividend, $1 per share every 3 months. That's passive income. Eventually, in this portfolio update, you're going to see me put a lot of my money into ExxonMobil. I also have another dividend stock that I like a lot that I haven't added to the portfolio yet. But you will see a shift eventually when my portfolio gets large enough to where I have a lot of Nvidia, like 20 shares, 30 shares. Then I'm going to go a lot harder on the passive income. I want the portfolio to grow faster first, load up on shares while they're cheap or as cheap as I could get them. And then I want to add more of the passive income plays in there. ExxonMobil is going to be one of my passive income plays. They do a great dividend, and you need oil or gas in the portfolio for protection and safety. All right, so we're gonna go to trading view. I'm gonna pull out the chart. This may seem a little complex for beginners, but I'm gonna walk you through it slowly to make sure that if you have any questions about anything or anything looks confusing, we're gonna go over that. So I am holding that 150 that I have for Nvidia. If I end up adding more in 2 weeks and Nvidia ain't hitting a certain level or anything like that, then then I'm gonna just hold until I'm keeping cash on hand until Nvidia hits a certain level, right? So when you're looking at a chart, the chart is price. Remember, I said the financials tells you if the company is worth it. The charts tell you when to buy, right? And each one of these candles, we're looking at it on a daily time frame, meaning each one of these candles is a day's time, right? The red candles mean that the stock went down for that day. At the top of the candle is where the day started. The price started at the beginning of the day when stock market opened 9:30, and then the bottom of the candle is where the day ended. So that you read the chart from left to right, which means all the way over to the right, the last day was a red day, and it was a big red day. Now there's other reasons and other things that I see on here that it's not a trading course, so I don't want to bore y'all with this too much. But I just want to give y'all some basic levels to look out for and show you how to find those levels and what tools also to use to identify when you feel like Nvidia is going to hit that bottom before it bounces back, right? So the daily time frame is the most used time frame when it comes to trying to assess the market, right? But you also have time frames greater. You have time frames greater than the daily time frame that can give you certain levels, right? So the longer the time frame or the stronger the levels are, right? So we're looking at the monthly time frame right now, and I'm gonna just give y'all some levels. When I say level, I'm talking about a point where price is hitting. I'm talking about a point where price is hitting multiple times and rejecting from, right? So we're gonna go over some levels right here. All right, so if we look up in here, we got what's that? Either 2 or 3 times of strong price rejection, right? And when I say price rejection, remember what I'm saying. You see the wick of the candle. The body, the candlestick has two forms, right? you have the body and the wick. The body is what the price has actually done from open to close. The wick is if it, opened at a certain point, went up, and then came back down. It will leave a wick that is associated with the body but not attached to the body. So the body is the open and close of the price on that day. If you're looking on a daily time frame, this is a monthly time frame. We're looking at a month's time, right? So when you're looking at levels, the strongest levels are going to be your monthly and your weekly time frames, right? And what you want to see, sometimes I think two is okay, but what you want to see is two. What you want to see is a minimum of two, but hope ideally perfection would be three. So what you're looking for is 2 to 3. Four is even better, five is even better, but areas where the price has touched multiple times and has been rejected, like an invisible line of defense, right? And this is something that a chart won't provide for you or anything like that. And of course, through my OG information, you know what I'm saying, I noticed through time. But on the monthly time frame, let's say we got two levels. We could even include this one right here. We got the bottom. I ain't even going to include that. So on the monthly time frame, we got two levels, right? Now, if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see where that lines up, right? So if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see that it's showing resistance up over here. You know what I'm saying? It's showing resistance right in the middle where you kind of have this W. You got two candles going up to that top line that I drew, not the bottom one, but the top one. And then once it passed through over here to the right where the green candles are, the next candle after it has a wick touching down, right? So that's a great level. That's probably the first area or level where you could expect Nvidia to come back down to, right? So we got our monthly time frames, and I want to say now it can create other levels while it's up here. It can create other levels, but if you just use these levels, so you got two levels up. Those are two solid levels, right? We got a level at 153 and 143. I feel like we may come down to 153, but the only way to confirm that, because when you're looking at charts, you don't just look at one thing. You have to match it up with multiple things. So you want to make sure it's hitting a level, bouncing from a level, bouncing from a moving average, bouncing from something. But you also want a indicator for confirmation, right? And the indicator I go over with y'all a lot is the MACD indicator, right? The best time frame to look at the MACD is going to be the daily time frame, right? So now we on the daily time frame. We done went to the weekly and the monthly. Now we on the daily time frame. We're going to match the levels with the indicator, right? So as you can see, the MACD indicator, which I'm making larger and smaller down here with the green and red bars and the two lines associated with it. You know what I'm saying? The MACD indicator lets you know when the momentum and volume is switching, right? So it's been red for a minute. And as you can see, the stock price for the last probably 2 weeks have been stagnant, right? And when you're looking at price, it moves in phases. So it usually goes up in like a staircase matter, usually in levels of threes. Then it consolidates, usually in levels of threes. If you look how it's consolidating right now, it looks like it has had three kind of drops or whatever within that consolidation. So usually after consolidation is a downturn. We have our levels in which where we expect it to turn around at. And then we're just waiting on a daily time frame for the MACD indicator to switch to green, like it did over here. Let me make sure. I know I'd be losing y'all. So if you're looking at the MACD indicator, every time it turns green, that's when the market is going up. Sometimes when it's red, it looks like the market is going up still, but you can either tell when it's red, there's either stagnation or the market is going down, right? So this week I literally just added $50 to United Healthcare, and I'm holding on to 150 until Nvidia hits a level, right? I'm waiting for Nvidia to hit a level with the MACD switching up, right? Because Nvidia is going to be going down, so I want to get it at a cheaper price. So if I end up putting more than that 150 in there, however much I load up on until Nvidia hits a certain level and looks like it's ready to make a turnaround, then I'm gonna just keep on loading up on cash until Nvidia is prime and ripe for purchase. I got a lot more stocks I'm interested in, man. I got a lot more crypto education. I got a lot that I'm looking at, and I have like the next probably 5 to 6 episodes kind of planned, depending, you know what I'm saying? The market can always shift. There can always be news changes, but we still beating the S&P 500, and we always will. But continue with this education, man. This is the best free education out there in these streets, man. Portfolio update once a week. Like and subscribe.